Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Center of Love, COL. We are a friendly group of like-minded and light-hearted individuals that are independent thinkers and critical thinkers. We don't reject mainstream religions, tenets, principles, or beliefs. We simply choose not to follow those particular dogmas in religion, but we don't reject them. Now, being independent thinkers, we tend to forge our own independent path here, exploring New Age philosophy, which is actually old age wisdom, just recalibrated, except perhaps for some of the quantum field stuff, which is fascinating and significant. So here at the Center of Love, we do not have a specific minister. We adopt a more democratic model in that each and every one of the members are invited to give a presentation of their choosing. And it's usually around subjects of psychology or philosophy, as I mentioned, New Age wisdom or old age wisdom, and generally health of varying kinds. So, in a nutshell, personal development subjects. So today, we have a presentation from Arno. Now, Arno has been researching and exploring health issues for decades. And that's the topic today. He has been exploring mainstream and alternative health modalities. And today, I think we're going to be looking at whether or not spirit and mind play a role in our optimal health choices. So please welcome Arno for his presentation.
What? All the mics are here. Oops. If it was small. Well, good morning. This is the first of this kind of speech that I ever given, actually, which is looking at health from a different perspective. First of all, health constitutes of physical health and emotional and mental health. And those two are linked together, but not perhaps in an obvious, natural way. So the lessons that I learned through my career is that the physical health is the easier one to retain. And it's really taking care of oneself. But it's only half of the health. Physical health is challenged by what we put into our bodies and how we are then able to process what goes into the bodies. And what we do in physical activities is keeping the physical health also good. And the guidance about retaining physical health beyond this is eat your food as your medicine. Because if you don't, you probably end up eating your medicine as your food. That's a very scary proposition, but think about it. I think in today's world, that is getting more and more true. And so the physical health is, in my view, quite easy to comprehend and address in comparison to the mental or spiritual health, which is what this center is concentrating more on, that part of the journey of ours, which is a spiritual and mental business matters. So I found that I'm not very good. I'm a very talented warrior. I worry. And it certainly is one of the first things that starts to compromise health. Because it puts challenges into me that I shouldn't really have, actually, when I think about it. And but this is, I'm going to pass you the lifetime lessons I learned about this, because it's a long, long time that my work career was such that I was doing always pioneering work. And I always came up with solutions middle of the night. So in the morning, when we started operations, I had the solutions with me, but at the cost of not having slept well. And now I find that the same applies to today's world situation again, is that my challenges, everybody else may be totally different, but at least present in mind may result, hopefully, people thinking about where they are at. My challenge has been that I now understand that if I don't sleep well, that itself presents a challenge to the health, both physical and emotional, mental health, all of it. So, I mean, the saying, be happy, don't worry, is one of my mantras that I had to repeat very often because I'm not natural doing that. And the sleep can be compromised simply by not having for me, everybody may work differently, but for me it is about, it's peace of my mind only when I find a solution to some problem that is around retaining my health. And because when I spend that nighttime figuring that out, then that compromises my own system. So I'm my own worst enemy. And I mean, I'm very thankful that my partner Linda is my savior that way. She's the one who kicks my butt and reminds me about some of the habits that are not very well workable. But the bottom line, so I'm very, very thankful for that. I'm very lucky and thankful. But to me, the bottom line here is that in today's world, all the challenges from the outside world start to be overwhelming to me, and the only way I can actually survive it without suffering in my own health is to find the peace and find a way to not worry, because that worry itself is the biggest challenge. I think I already said it. Don't worry, be happy. It's a very powerful saying to me. And of course, the sleep, it's something that whatever I learned in my life, it's very difficult to unlearn. I'm still in the mode of solving some of the key problems in the middle of the night. I don't know a way out of that, but that still is me. I take gladly any guidance from others about what and how to do on that one. But the speech is not really any longer than this, because to me, what I try to encourage people doing, to look at their own ways that they retain their own health and compromise or risk their own health. It's the last thing I like to kind of say, that the official system these days in the health system is very challenging, because it is there's a feeling about being very control and money orientated, the controls of what messages are spread to the world. And this piece can't cover more of that, but I see that as one of the key challenges in today, that understanding what the official system is doing and making sure to not to not to look at it critically, what is actually going on in own life. Because for everyone, I think their own health, both mental and physical, depend on their own attitude and their own approach to what they do with life. And specifically, lack of worry is one of the main tools in my view for that. I don't know how to teach lack of worry because I haven't learned quite myself that yet. But that's just real life for me. So, I mean, one of the key intentions of this presentation was not to give any more solutions, but just to raise the discussion about this issue amongst everybody here. So with this, I say that I thank you very much for the opportunity to put these few ideas forward, and I hope we can have a really meaningful input from as many people. I mean, one of the things I have learned here is that everyone who comes here is different. And everybody has their own life and their own views, and I have full respect for all of that. Actually, not only that, but I have so many times heard from people that I barely known things that have clicked something in my mind. So this as a community to me has been and continues to be really key in providing inputs that are very helpful and eye-opening, mind-opening for the better future. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks very much, Arno. Not just food for thought there, but a four-course meal that we can digest over our discussion later. Something that Arno mentioned was worrying. It took me a lifetime to realize that I was a worrier, to the point I was worrying that I was worrying too much. And that really negatively affects mental health. It took me a long time to realize that I was in that basket. And also, it's just a broader thought today that there's a much broader spectrum around health, certainly physical health. We talk a lot about financial health. But mental health over the last 10 to 20 years has come to the fore, and spiritual health. But something that I was introduced to last year was because of social media and the way we've gone with television and whatnot, entertainment at home, streaming services, and cable is social health. And I think that's one reason why some of us come here. I know it's why I come here, is to interact with intelligent people every couple of weeks. So thanks very much for the ideas there, Arno. We're going to take that to the discussion period after our 10, 11, 12-minute meditation. Are we ready for that? Oh, okay. Tracy wants to jump in. Okay. I didn't know Tracy had a few words for us. So I know somebody who's very much involved in the health and wellness industry. Please welcome Tracy.
Right. Love that, Arno. You had one little catchphrase in there, and I love those little phrases because my mind just attaches to those. And it was, we don't use our food as medicine, our medicine will become our food, which is exactly what we've been seeing happen. And in some ways, a necessary switch for people to realize their food wasn't sustaining them. So I love that you can bring attention to something and then we can look at the bigger. Whoops. It's right. All right. Thank you, Barbara. And I've heard many people, many different practitioners talk about health from many different perspectives. I like to word it as it's body, brain, and being. And within the brain, there's that mental emotional component. What I've found is, and this is from my learnings from mostly Joe Dispenza, I would just like to mention it, but it confirmed what I've always believed. If you're signaling your genes, if you're in charge of your life, if you take full responsibility for that environment, you're creating your own environment. And they say the environment signals the gene. Okay, and the end product of an experience is an emotion. So then we get up into the mind, right? The meaning we give something creates the emotion we're feeling. And James, you're talking about it being worry, right? And sometimes we don't even know because it's so deeply buried in our subconscious. We're not aware of it until maybe someone else mirrors it back to us. And maybe we resist and we don't want to engage with them because it's just too real of a mirror. And then when we go deeply into those things is when we get to learn. So if the environment signals the gene, and again, this is Joe Dispenza's wording, and I love it because it confirms how I believe we have ultimate dominion over our body if we take full responsibility. So if the environment signals the gene and the end product of an experience is an emotion, we can say emotionally we signal our genes, which is why when we realize, when we're aware of the thoughts and the feelings that we're creating, because thoughts are messages that go out and emotions are very magnetic. You know how people talk about trauma bonds and things, and they're in relationships they don't really want to be in or whatever. Well, you're feeling the same emotion as that person you're in that relationship with. You have something to learn. Go deep into that mirror and ask, what can I learn here about them? Means what can I learn about myself? And I love this community here because we're all doing that all the time, learning from each other, right? Oh, so he talked about worry. Yeah, I remember then when that was me. He talked about, Arno talked about how the current system is like this, and people are using their medicine as food. Like some people take so many medications, and I see it all the time. They come with a list that their body can't even digest the food that they're eating because there's so many ways they're trying to interrupt the chemistry. Whereas if they just went above to their being and said, hey, can you take charge for a moment? That inner voice, that still inner voice, the divine, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, and said, I surrender. Just take charge and help me see what I'm thinking so I know what my body's feeling so that I can actually begin to be aware inwardly of what I'm creating. So when I get myself whole, I can come back out to the world and contribute and help others. So I did want to say that I loved, and that might be what the old religions talked about as the Trinity, right? It might be body, brain, and being. And being is connected to that greater being that we're all a part of. Just like every cell, everything on my body is a mirror to my inner health. We're a mirror to that greater being, that we're a cell in that cell of the divine. So I don't know if that makes sense to anyone. So the more we can be whole, the more we can be good for others too. And we can be that really clean mirror for them to look in, that really positive mirror where we're seeing not just the worry, because it's going to be there sometimes. It's a valid message. We can also see the joy and the contribution, the peace within others, which I see as I look out here. I see everyone has a message, just like every emotion has a message. So inner health creates outer health. And if we're paying attention to everything our body's doing, it'll reveal to us how we're thinking, how we're feeling, and how we can be better. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, thanks very much, Tracy. I know you're very well educated and erudite wellness practitioner for sure. And Tracy brought up Joe Dispenza. He's definitely one of my favorite mentors too. He's pretty deep into the quantum mechanics of epigenetics impacting our lives by having dominion over our brains and our thoughts. And those thoughts generate messages into the universe, and consequently, the universe impacts the way our genes are expressed. It's pretty woo-woo stuff. It's probably not for the that stuff. Wouldn't even get near to that stuff. But I'm a firm believer. I think I've shared with you that I personally have had a Western medical doctor use the term miracle on me. And I think I've told that story before. So the power of thought, the power of spirit certainly plays a significant role in our health, our mental health, our emotional health, which feedback loop impacts our physical health. So thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Arno, for your input today.